Well, first I want to thank my wife for helping me by holding the cameras. Going, ticking, she hates it when I go over 5 minutes. So we'll just try. I'm still hurting from the new budget, whereas I had worked real hard to make sure there was a briefing that was given to the North Carolina legislature from the renewables engineers and head of department at North Carolina State University. I had first grasped onto this and felt it was timely and very important that it was clear to everyone that none of the decisions made by the North Carolina State University were to be made in ignorance of what was at stake and what could and should be done. Well, I don't know the reasoning. Verla was the only representative that I could get a hold of. I've lost control, lost contact with Valerie Fouché, and Greg Meyer seems to be awful busy being sincere and such a nice boy. I was so impressed that Verla was going to go ahead and have the briefing, but then it was all about education and education. Well, my concept is that you have to have prosperity come from energy and the port system that North Carolina desperately needed to have Morehead City be connected to I-40 and 95 and have that paid for by the taxes we pay, not held hostage to this so-called Connect bond. That bond and most of what is in that Connect comes from the Purdue administration and was created by North Carolina State University engineers under the direction of somebody who was intended to give it legitimacy as part of the, well, they can't have, it's a private public institution. You can't just hire the public institution to do the work. I forget the name of the gentleman who's put on the masthead. Let me think. At any rate, I'm still burning. Okay, the budget was passed, and 11 Democrats voted for it. All of those should be known as Republicans from now on. One of the key issues then became, we needed to give the incentives to the filmmakers. You might as well just write a check to California for every filmmaker and send them there with two years worth of rent for all those incentives really due for creating a mature industry. There's no above line in North Carolina still. It's worse than it was 20 years ago when I did the original writing for Real Carolina. No agents, except for maybe some of these hack actors who get a job now and then. But as far as the writers and producers and directors, I don't know where they get anything. You can't ever seem to shoehorn yourself into any of their forms and formats, and where's the money supposed to come from? And at any rate, distribution is key. Coward Coble did shit for it all, and whatever heroes of the Republican Party, no matter what they do, give it all away. So listen, when you ever look at any issue now, from now on, and I put Hillary in the corporatist category or nationalist category. Does it help a corporate? In fact, the corporations are intent on destroying all nations. Nationalism, you have to say, okay, all us old hippies who wanted to just give up and get out of the way of all the stupidity and venal meanness that was rampant. They get prescriptions for their pot in California. They get prescriptions for it, but the poor people in the urban areas are not even allowed to sell it. White people in California and Washington are going to do fine. At any rate, the corruption and hypocrisy in the United States was so endemic that by the time it was 1978, I'd pretty well started on Transcendia, and now I'm back to Transcendia. So I can't be involved with the Democratic Party if they're going to be just a bunch of continuously cowardly losers and rolling over for every Republican bunch of propaganda. I'm going to tell you one thing. You can read a very, very wonderful description of liberalism, which is really what you call conservatism, which is now called neoliberalism. And it started in the 1840s after the industrialists of British Empire, the British Empire, made fortunes and didn't want their kids to get their hands dirty. So finance rose, all the money was gambled away. The British Empire was made a beggar by the time it was World War I, and more a beggar by the time World War I was done. They never paid their bills, and World War II came around, and again, they were fully destroyed, and all that they sell now is the fame of their goddamn competitor for the Kardashians. Thanks very much. You know, it's a red button. Why won't